Hi, scholars. Great being able to connect with you in this time. I loved our story time. Oh my gosh, that duck is so fun. The duck on the tractor. I am also excited about seeing lots of faces today on the second grade Zoom. Lots of friends encouraging each other. I asked a question on the Zoom. I said, "Oh, this is really cool, scholars." And those of you who missed it, I'm happy to be able to share this little part of the second grade Zoom. I asked a question on the Zoom. I said, "Scholars." I said, does anybody have anything that they can say that is like positive or for keeping our friends kind of encouraged during this time? And we had little voices say, don't give up. We had little voices say, giving, be kind. Someone said, do your best. It was so cool to hear the scholars encouraging each other. So I want to send that encouragement out to all of you. If you missed that, that is from your scholars, your friends, your classmates in second grade. They are being strong, they're being positive, and they're learning different things. They're trying new things at home. It was pretty cool. So awesome. I hope you guys are having a good day. We're going to do some short learning today on telling time. And we're just kind of explore a little bit. I know you've seen this on your iReady test, but we haven't done it together in class, and we did not reach that point in our modules, our math workbooks. So I just want to kind of explore a little bit with you, keeping in mind, I know you guys are processing a lot, but just kind of use what you know about math, counting, and your numbers, skip counting, to kind of just connect to some ideas here about telling time, and then enjoy. Okay, so I will have to say, never quarantine a teacher, because I got my own little portable whiteboard back here now going. I got clocks, and it's pretty cool. All right, so let me take you over to my clock. All right, scholars, and let me make sure I got it all in there. Okay, scholars, this is my clock. And I'll just kind of go through a couple of things with you, okay? So in this video, there's some terms that you may recognize or have heard, familiar terms like hours. That's a unit of time. Minutes, that's a unit of time. It's minutes are a smaller unit of time than hours. And there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, okay? There, you might have heard the phrase o'clock. I'll show you what numbers represent that phrase, that idea on the clock. So like if you've heard someone say 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I'll show you kind of what that visual, which I'll show you that visually on the clock here, and what numbers represent that phrase. You may or may not have heard this one. This one may not be as familiar, but there's a long hand and there's a short hand on the clock, and I'll show you that. The long hand is the minute hand on the clock, and the short hand is the hour, represents the hour hand on the clock. Okay, so there's some little info there. Okay, so let me grab the shorthand and longhand really fast, and I'll go through some of this. So I have the little hands here, and I'll just kind of stick them on. Let me make sure they're on the right side, because if they're on the wrong side, they fall off. I'm just going to kind of stick them there and just kind of talk through before I kind of put them how they kind of go on the clock. Okay, so our shorthand, this one's a little shorter. If I turn them maybe this way, maybe you can see one's shorter and one's longer. Okay, all right. So shorthand on the clock, scholars, that is the hour hand, and it represents the hour in the time. And the long hand is the minute hand, okay? So that's used for showing the minutes. in telling time. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the numbers here. Okay, scholars, you recognize these numbers. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. When you are telling time, these numbers are what they are. They represent exactly what they show you. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for the hours. Okay, the minutes are a little different. Okay, a little trickier. So I'm going to have to maybe repeat a couple times and kind of model it once I get those going on the clock, the hands. So for minutes, I think if I start kind of expressing it as ones first and then go into increments of 5. So o'clock, I'll start with the o'clock. That's here, our centerpiece, the 12. That represents the o'clock in minutes. Okay, that o'clock phrase I was telling you about, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Okay, to show that on the clock, the minute hand has to be on the 12, and that 12 represents o'clock. Okay, 0, 0. Past the 12 starts the counting of the minutes on the clock. Okay, now if you can see, there's the little notches and then there's the big numbers. Little notches and then the big numbers. The little notches and then the big numbers. Little notches and then the big number all the way around. The little notches are kind of like, you can think of them as counting by ones. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 comes next, 5. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9 comes next, 10. Okay, 11, 12, 13, 14 comes next, 15. Okay, so there's a pattern here, scholars, that helps people tell time. And that is each big bold number here, scholars, represents an increment of 5. Okay, so let me slowly kind of walk you through this. So you remember how to count by fives. I'm going to count by fives, starting with the 1. So that's how that works on the clock. And count with me if you still remember you're counting by fives, or just listen if you just want to listen. Okay, whatever helps your brain. Okay, so starting at the 1, counting by fives. 5 to every bold number. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and then back to o'clock. Okay, so for minutes in telling time, these big bold numbers don't actually represent what number they're showing. They actually represent increments of 5. Okay, so let me show you that, because I know that's a little tricky and I want to kind of repeat and show you that. So here's my minute hand. I'm going to put it on the o'clock, the 12, running at the 12. Here's my hour hand. I'm going to start that at the o'clock as well. And let's kind of walk through this little step by step. Okay, just like that. All right. So if I wanted to show hours, remember I said these numbers for hours represent what they are. So 1 o'clock, 1 hour. Okay, the hour 1 o'clock. Okay, shorthand, hour hands pointing at the 1 and showing 1 o'clock there. Okay, the 1 is 1 for hours. Okay, 2 o'clock. Take my hour hand, my shorthand pointed at the 2. Okay, remember hours, the numbers are what they are. 3 o'clock, my hour hand, I would take it, I would point it to the 3, and there I am, 3 o'clock. 4 o'clock, my hour hand would point to the 4. Sorry if the camera is moving a little bit. My hour hand points to the 4. That 4 represents 4 in hours. The 4 is a 4. Okay, and so on. 5 o'clock with the hour hand. 6 o'clock. Okay, 7 o'clock. All the way around. 8 o'clock, 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock. So in hours, the numbers represent what they are. In minutes, okay, I talked about how that is a little bit different. So I'll leave that right there, the hour at 11. So we're at 11th hour, okay? Minutes, remember I told you the big ones represent the 5, increments of 5. So starting at the 1, past the o'clock, starting at the 1, that's 11 11:05. Okay, and I'm going to go through the increments of 5, and then I'll go back through kind of and show you how you can do the odd 6 or 02 or 03. Okay, so you really remember what I said about the notches in between. Okay, so that would be 11:05. This would be, remember, 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. This would be 11:10. That my long hand, my minute hand would be pointing to 2. So 10, 11:15, 11:20. Now we keep going. 25, every bold number is an increment of 5. 30, 11:35. See that? 11:40. Now what if I wanted to show 11:02? Okay, then I would go and I would use my notches in between the o'clock and the 5. There are the ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that 5. So I would go to the second notch here before I get to that 1. That means 5 minutes. Okay, and then I'll have 11, my hour hand on 11, short hand, and then my minute hand pointing at that second notch, 11:02. Okay, then I can move a notch over. That'd be 11:03. A notch over, 11:04, and then back to that big increment of 5, 11:05. Okay, what if I wanted to go to 11:12? All right, one easy thing to do is to find my 10 first and then go 2 past 10. So 5, 10. There's 11:10. And then to get it to 12, I just move those little notches, 11, 12. Okay. 11:30. Remember, past the o'clock, count by 5s for every bold number, every big number. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 11:30. That's also called half hour, scholars, because remember I said 60 minutes in an hour. So 30 is half of 60. So that's half hour. So that's a little bit kind of how the minutes and the hours work on the clocks. Show you how to write that. If you wanted to write time and read it, because some of the word problems you have to write it and read it. So 11:30 written out would be an 11. Hours go in the front. This here is called a colon. And then the minutes go behind the colon. 11:30 written out just like the number 30. Okay, there's that. 12:30. 12:15. Okay, same idea. The hours in the front, your colon, and the minutes in the back. Okay. Now, word problems that you would have seen in our textbook we didn't get to are in your iReady. You could do like some math thinking. You can do hard ones and easier ones. Let's do one just so I can try to kind of get this idea out, and then maybe explore a little more of this later. So using what you know about time, the hours and the minutes, you may be able to like add them together or subtract to solve word problems. So let's say Jonathan ran for 1 hour, or Jonathan ran for 2 hours a day. Then he ran for 3 hours the next day. You can add the hours from one day to the next day and get a total amount of hours. You could also do, if Jonathan ran from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock Monday, okay, and he ran from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock on, let me show you, let's write that out real fast, okay, 7 to 9 and 5 to 7. I didn't write that one right. Okay. So let's say that, this has how much time you ran. Okay, you could do some adding there. That's 2 hours, 7 to 8, 8 to 9. And that's 2 hours, 5 to 6, and 6 to 7. So you can add, 2 plus 2 is 4. Together, he ran in those days 4 hours. That kind of stuff, okay? So there's a little bit about time today, scholars. I heart you all. So proud of you. Keep being amazing. I'll see you next time.